And so, what was that noise? All right, hey, it's time to get started here. So we're just going to dive right in. I love this picture so much. Right now, we are going to talk to Eric from Easy. Whoops, hold on. Let's try this again. Stop the broadcast. Eric from Easy Computer Solutions, Real World Review. We have Matt. That first picture you saw right there, I want to talk about real quick. First of all, Eric, welcome to the stream.
Hello, how's it going? Welcome.
If anyone has not heard about Easy's channel, or do they call you Easy? Do they call you Eric? Both of the above.
They call me Easy.
Okay, they call you Easy. Good, because I got to tell you a story right now, but let's start from the beginning of the history, and then we're going to intro Neo and a real world as well. About, what was it, last year sometime, we tried to put together a live stream hangout on Easy Computer Solutions channel. We had everything ready to roll, and then a hurricane hit. Like on the night of the stream, Eric said, hey, we can't do this. We're going to have to reschedule. There's a hurricane coming. I was like, okay, let's do that. And then I think there was another scheduling thing that came up on the following one, and we were trying to figure out if we were going to do the stream. And finally, I got a message that said, you know what, let's just do it. We jumped on there. It was yourself, me, and the tech couple, and we had a blast that night. And I want to tell everyone right now that when it comes to the live stream using Google Hangouts, I got to say thanks to Easy, because I was wanting to do my OBS with, bringing in panels, and I wanted a sophisticated stream with crazy stuff that we don't have current technology for. And I went on to his live stream and said, you know what? You got to work with what you got. And what you were doing with Google Hangouts was working. And I said, you know what? When the technology gets here, that's when we use it. And until then, we go with this format. So, overall, it's pretty decent. You talk, your face goes on the screen. What more do you want, right? I mean, we don't have to get too fancy.
And the thing about it is, don't get me wrong, I love OBS, but you know what? At the end of the day, you just want to just get the information out there, just have some fun. And I mean, yeah, you got all the stuff kind of trickling around with OBS. It's great, no problem. But, Google Hangouts is plain, simple, easy, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It works. It works. And I want to talk more about your channel real quick. I also want to introduce Real World Reviews. A lot of you in the stream know who he is. He's got his own YouTube channel. And by the way, congratulations early to Easy, about to hit 20,000 subscribers. And Real World today, it looks like, hit 500 on the nose. So big congrats, Matt. The hard work's starting to pay off, right? I think we lost audio. Hold on a second.
All right, how about now?
That works.
Okay.
So you're live at the repair shop right now, where you do your video reviews, your teardowns, and deal with customers, right?
Yeah. Technically my computer is actually on the area where I film everything. So yeah, that's
perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks guys for joining me. Neo, also, I want to give a shout out to, he's going to be working the chat so that we can get any comments. Also, Johnny Chang, big thanks. He, for the last 2 weeks, has been running the chat moderation. So we're going to give him a break, because I know that takes work and dedication and obligating yourself basically to do something for nothing. So like the rest of us here a lot of the times, but that's the world of YouTube, right? But yeah, it's all fun. We got some people in the chat. What's going on? Nate Parker, Johnny Chang, good to see you. Hey, I'm glad you could join us. I didn't want to hit you up every single week to do this. So we got somebody, we're going to try to rotate this around once in a while. Nate's Tech Service, Carl Laterno, and Tells B. Hey, I don't think I've seen Tells B before, but welcome to the stream. We are definitely going to be talking about this Apple thing. I'm coming right off the tail end of Easy stream from last night, though, and I just want to wrap up a couple questions I have before we jump into the technology topic. So he has something called Wine Wednesdays, which is just as much fun as it sounds like. By the way, what are you drinking, or should I say, are you drinking this evening?
Yes, I am.
He is. Okay, this guy is hard. You are an animal, man. Last night, they did a live stream where it's 3 ladies and 1 guy. I know every YouTuber's dream, right? And gives the female perspective on technology, which is good to hear, because we tend to see everyone has equal access to everything, but across the board, we don't see as many women in tech as we probably would like to. So he gives them a chance to come on and talk, and it's a great format, but they do tend to enjoy the beverages of their choice during the stream. And last night, somebody got the idea that every super chat deserves a shot. And when I saw that, I had to click the super chat button immediately. And then when I saw everybody else start clicking it, I kind of felt bad for you guys. Did everybody survive for last night?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And you know what's so funny? The ladies came earlier. They set it all up and they say, easy tonight. We're going to do something special. I said, what you going to do? We're going to do super chat for shots. Okay, I'm down. So it's Wine Wednesday. Y'all ladies do. Y'all take control of whatever you want to do. And they done it. And it was phenomenal. I mean, woof. Well, it was crazy.
Yeah, there was some singing going on, a little bit of get the kids out of the room. This is an adult-themed dream. No nudity. They don't do that on YouTube, but it was a bit risque, I'll say.
And then, you know, I used to get demonetized, but I don't get demonetized anymore.
Man, I was getting demonetized on every video I published as recently as like 2 months ago. Every single video. And you know what's, here's the crazy thing, guys. If you aren't already aware of this, you got to watch your keywords. I know that a lot of times that they'll demonetize you by default, but listen to this. If you can't see, let me grab it. This right here is one of the tools of the trade. If you can see it barely in frame there.
You mean this thing?
Oh, there you go. So this right here is called a heat gun, and it works like a hair dryer, but it's a lot more powerful. If you put heat gun in your keywords or in your video description, you can almost definitely get demonetized, which is crazy to me. But when you say gun, you say ammo, you say, I don't know, you probably can't even say school at this point, to be honest. Like, you got to be careful about what's in there. And they were dinging me because I put heat gun under the list of equipment that I use in my videos. So that is now heat generating device, in case anybody's ever wondering what I'm talking about.
And this video is already demonetized now, so.
Yes, well, I think you can discuss it. I just think the description is where they get you. Real world, real quick, give us a little bit of information on your channel, what you're doing, your latest video. I know that you're kind of trying to stick to the premium phones for the most part, right? So,
yeah, I'm trying to stick to the premium phones because, one, those, at least in the United States, those are the easiest phones to get. Two, ironically, those are actually cheaper phones for me to get. And, you know, some of them, like the Samsung S9, I paid full price for it, and I definitely paid a lot. But like the S8 Plus, I got that one at a cheaper price, along with the S7 Plus. I also got, or S7 Edge. I mean, I also got that at a cheaper price. So right now I'm kind of just dealing with phones that I have, because right now there's nothing really coming in money wise except for, you know, where I work. So it's a little bit harder to pay for all these phones. So like right now I'm using the Pixel 2, and if I have time, I'll be able to do a review for it because it is a phone for sale. So I'm just trying to deal with what I can, and hopefully I can get as many reviews out as I can. You know, possible, I guess.
I heard like a few years ago when I first started doing the YouTube stuff, and I didn't have a whole lot. You know, we had phones that came into the shop, but we don't get to pick and choose what we get to do a teardown on. And someone told me, you know, take a look at what you have and think about how much you can do. And you hear everybody making excuses. Oh, wait, I got to wait till this comes out. I got to get this. I guarantee you, if anybody in this stream looks around the room that they're in right now, if you're motivated to make a YouTube video of some sort, you could do it. You'll find something interesting there. And when I started looking, I was amazed at how I was just kind of using this as an excuse not to accomplish something. I had, oh, I'm going to be better when I get this. I need this camera. I need this light. You know what? When it comes down to it, at least as far as right here and now on YouTube, it's like publishing something is almost better, always better than publishing nothing, you know, and you start somewhere, you get going, and then you realize the real hard work isn't getting the products, it's editing those videos together. That's the work.
I tell you what, I did this the opposite. I wish I could have kind of turned the clock back a little bit, but I did this the opposite. My whole plan of thought was get everything. And stupidly, I did that. And that's one of the things I wish I could go back because, I mean, a lot of the things that I bought a couple of years ago, it actually pays off. I mean, I bought lighting equipment. I bought, new laptop, new desktop. I bought a lot of cameras, a lot of tripods. So those are the things that I bought in the beginning. When I first started my YouTube channel to get going. But yeah, I was one of the ones that I had to buy everything. As soon as something come out, I had to get it, whether eBay or wherever, however, I had to pay people under the table to get product. That's what I was doing. And stupidly, I wish I could go back and rethink some of the things that I did, because I think I wasted a ton of money on nonsense.
That's a tough one, you know, especially the way this stuff depreciates over time.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys, if this is good news, in the near future, you'll be reviewing Apple and Samsung, and that's it. There won't be anyone else left.
Yeah,
that's what it's starting to look like. All right, so we need to get this thing underway. I want to say hi to Wayne Taylor. I hope you got your pizza tops on tonight. Who else we got? Pat Naik. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Love from India. Hey, we got someone from all the way on the other side of the world. Again, hopefully the stream holds out tonight. 1001 noisy camera. What's going on? Temperature increasing air blower. There you go. That's the correct technical term for that one. Okay, so just a bit of background. Now, you know, Easy does phone and tech reviews, not just phones. I've seen you got robots on your channel and everything else. And that robot does the robot. Is that correct?
Yeah, it does the robot. Yes. I got robots and everything.
We got a real world who also does reviews and teardowns, works in a phone repair shop, and you have myself, who has been in phone repair longer than I care to admit, to be completely honest. But I'm across the board fairly familiar with most of the operating systems and most of the manufacturers that exist and what their policies are towards customers. And my idea tonight was to hopefully find a way for us to all get a bigger perspective on what's going on with this whole Linus Apple thing. And the reason I say that is because when you go, and we're going to look at these comments here in a minute, and you're generally going to see the team A, team B. You know, you love Apple, you hate Apple. Oh, they should definitely bail out Linus, or, you know, he's on his own. He took the phone apart. It wasn't his business. And I believe that there's a lot of room for discussion in between those two extremes. And I feel like, you know, as we discussed in this first stream that I had to you, because I remember we were talking about sports teams, and we were saying when you like a sports team, you know, or a politician or a religion or anything, or even a girl or, you know, a guy or whatever it is, it's hard to see the faults that exist. It's hard to acknowledge that maybe there's some room for improvement there. And I think the same thing happens no matter which side of the fence you're on. You know, if you hate Apple with the passion, nothing they do is ever going to make you happy. And if you love Apple, they could sell you a piece of dog dookie that's printed Apple on it, and you're going to stand in line the night before to buy it. So we have those two extremes, right? But let's be real. Most people fall somewhere in between there, and they do want to find an easy answer most of the time. Because, I mean, we know there's way more distractions and decisions to make in our lives than there ever have been before. We don't have time to dig deep into every single issue that comes along, right? So there's a human propensity to just go, what do you guys think about this? That? Okay, yeah, I'm with you, right? And I'm going to jump to one side or the other. And that's, hey, you know, that's how you win wars. And that's, if we go back to the tribal origins of humans, that's what it comes down to. You've got to join up on one side or the other, because if not, you're going to lose, right? You have to. We don't have that same situation anymore. So for background on the topic, anyone who hasn't already heard this, there's a big YouTube channel called Linus Tech Tips. He bought an iMac Pro some time back, and he'll take these things apart, kind of like I do with phones, take them apart, see what they look like on the inside, make a YouTube video, put it back together. Well, during his last disassembly of this allegedly $5,000 or $10,000 iMac Pro, I think it was, he ended up breaking the screen, breaking something else on the inside, and I don't know if it has something to do with the solid state drive being soldered down or whatever the issue was. The bottom line is this: he broke it. He took it apart and he broke it. Went to Apple, and of course, they said, you're out of warranty, man. Once you break your phone, there is no warranty. And this is the first thing I think we need to set down as a clear understanding to everyone. A warranty means that your device will not fail by fault of the manufacturer. They didn't mess up and do something. If they did, your warranty will cover you. If you throw your phone across the parking lot, or you just drop it off the nightstand and the screen breaks, the warranty has nothing to do with that. And in most cases, they'll tell you your warranty is done. It's voided. You broke it. Physically, you're done. Now, Apple does offer some options for their customers where they say, okay, your phone's not in warranty, but we certainly want to retain you as a customer. If you want to get your screen replaced, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars for it. And by the way, thank you to Apple. And I'm going to say this, even though I'm kind of in between on this, thank you so much to Apple. This is the company that, if they didn't introduce, they popularized breakable phones. Okay, that's what Apple brought to the market. Something with a big piece of glass on the front that allowed people like myself to go into business for themselves, filling a need for customers that was there. Because in the old days, if you broke your phone, either you upgraded through your carrier and signed a new contract, or you paid for it out of pocket. That was it. There was no in between. You know, if you go way back, the manufacturers would help you, again, under warranty, but outside of that, there wasn't much. So we saw an opportunity to help people get their stuff fixed. And we said, you know what, we're not affiliated with Apple or Samsung or Motorola or anybody else, but we know how to make this thing work again. And even to this day, your options from a manufacturer are limited at best. They're not, you know, if you go to Apple with your phone, they will replace your screen or they will give you another battery. Okay, those are the repairs that they offer in store right now. Sometimes no waiting if you're lucky enough not to have to make an appointment. In many cases, you're going to be on a waiting list. I had to wait 3 weeks out before to get into an Apple store. Okay, so understandably, people want to get their stuff fixed. And number two, what's built into this, and I wanted to say this up front, Easy, because I know that you are a reasonable person. And that's another reason I wanted to have you on here, because you're on the other side of the counter, you know, as far as taking things apart and breaking them and putting them back together. I know you review them, but you're on the other side of the counter as a customer saying, hey, my screen broke. What are my options? And I don't believe that most people understand that when you go to Apple, if you've got something other than a battery or a screen replacement, most of the time their solution is to take your phone and give you another phone instead, because they don't have the time or the resources or maybe the ability to perform a lot of other repairs that a third-party repair shop will do. Now, what that means is not that you're getting a brand new phone. They do not hand you a brand new $1,000 iPhone 10 because the charge port on your iPhone 10 doesn't work. They hand you, unless you get lucky, if you're going to do it within the first 2 weeks that the phone's released. If you're going to have a problem with your phone, make sure you do it immediately after it's released, because they don't have any refurbished replacement units. Right. If you wait a few months, you're going to be getting somebody else's phone that was repaired. They're going to take yours, send it in, and replace it. So with that in mind, Linus went in with this $10,000 computer. And this whole thing could have been set up, right? Let's be honest. He could have said, we're going to get a lot of views. And you were talking last night about his channel went crazy. And I understand that. I understand clickbait. I understand, you know, these stupid prank videos and everything else people are doing. I get it. But what this really brought to light is that not only if you take your own computer apart and you break it in the process, is Apple going to say we can't help you, but to the best of my knowledge, with this particular model, anything that happens outside of the warranty at this point in time, Apple does not have anyone certified to repair that device. So you come in and say, look, I was moving furniture around. I hit the screen on my computer and cracked it. Here it is. And Apple says, sorry, we don't currently have anyone available that can help you at all. Right. So take your $10,000 machine and, I don't know, go wait or, you know, shut down your business until we can get something going, or maybe there's an HDMI output. So I wanted to make sure that we're clear on that, just because it's hard. You know, it's easy to say, you took it apart, you broke it, man. Right? Yeah. I mean, you break it, you break it, you bought it. And I understand that. If somebody comes into my house and breaks something, I'm going to be looking at them like, hey, this is on you. Right? Yeah. But as a customer with a robot or a pair of headphones or a phone, or no matter what it was, accidents happen. And if you go back to the manufacturer and say, well, it's my fault, I want to pay to get this fixed, and they say, we don't even fix that model. How you can imagine different scenarios of all the products that you own. How would you react to that? I mean, how would you handle that? How would you feel about a company that gave you that response on any level?
I tell you, you know, that was the first time that I ever heard that. That was the very first time that, and I never experienced that. And one of the videos I've made, I actually made a vlog video, which I had a 4.5-year-old MacBook that my daughter had, and it didn't want to come on anymore. So she told me, Daddy, my MacBook doesn't work. And the first thing that I thought about, for 4.5 years old, I might have to pay a little bit. So my whole plan of thought was, as I bring my PC, and I filmed the whole thing, and I bought the MacBook, to Apple. I set up an appointment on the iPhone, set it all up, and I bought my MacBook to Apple on my appointment day, and I gave them my laptop. In my mind, I'm thinking, I know I'm gonna have to pay for something. And they bought my laptop to the back. It didn't even want to come on, even when you put the power cord in. They bought the MacBook to the back. 10 minutes later, they say, well, sir, if you want to come back later on the day, I'll have it fixed for you. Like in one day. It's like, okay, fine. But I decided to go back the next day as I was filming it. And when I went back the next day, went on in, the guy bought the MacBook, he turned it on, and everything worked fine. He said, have a good day. I'm like, okay, I don't have to pay for anything. Nope. 4-year-old MacBook, bought it to Apple. It was pleasant. It was the best service that I ever had. They don't know if I'm a YouTuber or not, you know. The best service I ever had. They bought my MacBook in the back, came back with it, fixed. I didn't have to pay a penny. And I walked out, basically a brand new MacBook, and it has High Sierra on it. They updated it, and it works like new money. And to this day, it's still working like new money. And this is one of the things that when we talk about like Apple versus Windows versus any other company, I think one of the things that kind of won me over a little bit, because I buy a lot of Apple product and I buy a lot of Windows product because I edited, you know, on either Windows or Mac. But one of the biggest things that I look at is when it comes down to customer service, can I get it fixed? How fast would it take for me to get it fixed? Do I have to pay to get it fixed? So I think about all these things. I'll give you another quick scenario. Again, my daughter, she loves iPhone. She's all into the Apple ecosystem. Every now and then she hit me up and say, Daddy, something wrong with my iPhone. I don't hesitate. I get on the iPhone, set up an appointment, go bring it to Apple. Again, good customer service. I walk right in 15, 20 minutes. I'm right at I got a sales guy come, repair guy come, ask me a few questions. They got a machine. Obviously, they're analyzing the device. Okay. And they bought the phone to the back, and I get either refurbished or a brand new iPhone with no questions asked, no strings attached. Have a good day. Now, I've done this a few times, and I think to myself, I got a Galaxy S9. I got a lot of phones. I got 78 phones. And so if I break my unlocked Samsung Galaxy S9 or 8, if I break it, can I get it fixed in one day? Who do I send it to? If I bought a OnePlus 5T.
Real world said me right here.
Yeah. Right, but I'm talking like locally, right? If I break my OnePlus 5T, and that's my only device, I send it to OnePlus. 10 weeks they might have my phone. What am I going to use? So I think in my perspective, when it come down to, you know, customer service, getting work done, they have taken care of me on several occasions. So I know that's why a lot of, you see, everywhere I go at, you see iPhones, everybody in the Apple ecosystem and stuff like that. I got both. I always keep my BlackBerry Key 1 with me, or I keep my iPhone with me. But I think when it comes down to customer service, no doubt in my mind, when it comes down to getting stuff done today, if I want my screen fixed today, I can get it fixed today. And that's big. So that's kind of my experience dealing with Apple and Android. And when think about it, can you bring a 4-year-old Windows PC to the Microsoft store and tell them, fix it for me? They're gonna probably tell you, nah, you need to go buy you a new one. Get out of here.
I couldn't even tell you where the nearest Microsoft store is.
Oh, we have one in Louisiana. Yeah, we have one in Louisiana.
Okay, so I think we have one in Roseville, if I remember correctly, but I went in there with my Lumia 1020 asking them about a camera, and they looked at me like, this phone's been out for 2 years. What are you talking about? We can't do anything to this. Yeah, so that's fair. And this is really what I'm looking for. And, you know, that speaks to customer service goes a long way, right? You treat somebody good. And I'll say there's been more than one occasion when I've taken, because we used to do kind of a protection plan for customers. And sometimes the best option was to go to the Apple store. So if it's a iPhone 7 was released last week. I can't get that screen at a reasonable price to replace it for the customer. So I can go to Apple and still save money, even though, because we had like a little arrangement where the customer paid a deductible, all this kind of stuff. That made sense. 6 months out, and someone had asked a question in the comments here. It said, how long since first time of manufacturing is other companies allowed to sell aftermarket parts for electronics and so on? And I can't answer that for every product, but I can tell you that for phones, right now there's no real strict laws in place as far as that goes. If it's something with the logo on it, if it has Samsung printed on it, if it has an Apple printed on it, if you remember the little square that used to be on the home button on the Apple, that is Apple's property right there. You cannot make a home button with the square on it. They own that design. So when it comes to that stuff that's branded and they own the trademark, never is the answer. No third party can sell that, with a few exceptions. If you're going wholesale through the company, which if you're dealing with Samsung, I want to say you have to buy like $50,000 a month worth of product in order to qualify for their wholesale program. So that's kind of out of the question for most people. But for the most part, the replacement parts that we get come from the same place that the manufacturers get them in the first place. They all come from Shenzhen, China, for the most part, with the exception of Samsung, which has parts coming out of Korea. LG has parts coming out of Korea. But for the most part, we get the same parts they do, but they can't be branded with the company name. Hopefully that answers the question. Real world, since while we're on this topic, I want to get your take on this because you have been to the Apple store, what, 700-800 times now?
Yeah. I have no issue with Apple, except for I've had maybe two situations where it was pretty much out of my hands and there was really nothing I can do. But there was one situation, so that was actually really good. So long story short, I'll tell you exactly what was happening. I had an Apple Watch. It was the Series 0, which was the first generation one. And long story short, it was getting hot, and I guess it was like a week out of the warranty. But when I took it into them, I told them about what was happening. They were all cool about it. They said, okay, we're going to send it out. And I said, hey, I just want to make sure I'm under warranty. They checked it. They said, you're out of warranty, but we'll figure something out. So they sent it out. And a couple days later, I get an email saying that my watch is ready to be picked up. So I come in and I go to pick it up and they go, okay, it's going to be $199 plus tax. And I said, well, what happened? I wasn't told that it was going to cost any money, because in the past, generally they contact you and they say, hey, we need you to either pay this or tell us to ship it back with no cost. And long story short, I told him, is there a way I can just get my old watch back? I'd rather have it overheating than to pay the $200. He went back and he came back to me and said, well, what we can do is we can just cover the price for you, so you can just have the watch. Because essentially what happens is once it's sent out to their depot, that's it. And also, that's another issue too. If they have to send out your phone, there is no way, at least according to Apple, there is no way for you to contact them. There is no way for them to contact, for the actual Apple store to contact that depot. And essentially, whatever they say goes. So for example, if they say, oh, it was physical damage, even though it was a brand new phone, that's it. You're screwed. Another situation that I had, I sent in an iPhone 6S Plus. The signal wasn't working. And it was another phone where that was originally purchased by T-Mobile. I didn't purchase the phone or whatever, but long story short, they said that the back panel of this 2-month-old phone had been replaced by a third party, which had the Apple logo, and it was a 6S Plus, so it didn't have the IMEI or anything like that. But it was a brand new phone, pretty much. Well, not entirely brand new, but you know what I mean. Like everything was good. It was not a refurbished phone or anything like that. So not only did they flag that phone, but they also did not replace anything on that phone because they believed that it was an aftermarket part. So if there was an error on their side, I can't do anything, but of the 30, 40, 50 times that I've, taken phones to Apple, I mean, those those are the only weird situations that I've had.
Okay. And I'll say, you know, I've never had Apple give me a hard time. I'll tell you guys this one thing. I went into one Apple store and I had a blue polo shirt about this color with the collar on it, like a golf shirt. And at that time, this particular store, all the Apple shirts were the same exact color as mine. I've never been in and out of, taken care of, problem solved as fast in my life as when I walked in looking like I might be an Apple employee. Like, who's this guy? What do you want? Take care of him. Done. And I was like, wow, I'm wearing this shirt every time I go back there from now on. Now, we have heard from customers that come in that you know, it never hurts to try. And I think that they may be hoping that this will help to solidify that customer relationship, because sometimes you go into Apple and you might get a completely different result on Tuesday than you would on Wednesday. If you happen to be an attractive female, you might get a completely different result than anybody else any day of the week. And I've heard these stories. You know, I've heard one person go in, couldn't get what they wanted, sent the girlfriend back, problem solved. And, you know, that could have been coincidence. It could like, you know, day of the week, whatever. But I've taken phones in that were clearly out of warranty. Well, one time I took a phone in that was clearly out of warranty. They took it back to replace the screen with the $129 deductible or whatever that was, and came back and handed me another phone and told me it was my lucky day. I didn't have to pay anything. Now, in my mind, the first thing I thought was something went wrong with that repair. And instead of saying we messed up, they said, you know what? We really like you. Here's a phone. But, you know, it would kind of make sense. Apple recently donated some crazy amount of money in order to have, I'm going to have to look this up, but they just donated a crazy amount of money for someone to develop something for them, just in good faith, saying, hey, we need to come up with something. Here's some money. Figure it out. We're going to just get, so it's not like they're short on cash or cash flow, right? They have the money to do that. I don't want to get too behind here, but I got some more questions for both of you guys. I'm going to try to get through them fast because this, you know how time flies on this thing. But real quick in the comments, Greg M. Beta News was told by Apple Genius his year-old MacBook Pro had suffered water damage without them even looking at it. It has vertical line on the display, which could be panel or display cable. And I'll say here for the record, and any technician on this stream will agree with me, Apple geniuses are trained for specific repairs and to identify specific problems. Now, I'm not knocking them. I'm sure they do what's within their job description very well, and they're friendly, and I can't say anything negative about the treatment that I've got, you know, customer service wise. But the bottom line is, you know, if you have any questions, you know, don't just check out my channel, check out Lewis Rossman or Jessica Jones's channel. And we do know behind the scenes that Apple is not necessarily equipped to deal with a lot of the problems that comes in. It's outside of the scope of what they do. So occasionally they may give you information that is not entirely accurate. If they never opened up a machine and they're trying to tell you it's water damage, I mean, that clearly doesn't make sense, right? And we know at the same time, you can walk through the rain or go into a steam room or a hot shower with no window, and the stickers on the inside of your phone trip. It's very easy to make them turn pink. And once you do that, they got a little thing. They used to look down inside the headphone jack, which we don't have anymore. But at the end of the headphone jack, we call it the light at the end of the tunnel. If you look into any headphone jack on an iPhone, there's a little white sticker on the inside. And when that sticker gets wet, it's going to look like Eric or Easy's shirt right now. Yeah. In the worst case scenario, it starts out pink, but if it gets really wet, it turns kind of bright red. Linus Tech, what was this? Johnny said, Linus Tech Tips, the same amount to seriousness as the Bengate uncovered by Unbox Therapy. I do not believe so, because Eric, are you, I'm sorry, I keep saying Eric, Easy. Are you familiar with the whole Bengate thing?
Oh yeah, I remember. I think it was the iPhone 4.
That was a 6 Plus was the
6 Plus. Oh yeah, 6 or 6 Plus.
So remember, it would bend. You put it in your pocket.
Yeah, and it bend. Yeah,
and the thing was, the bending wasn't the real problem, because we get bent phones all the time. I just worked on 3 iPads and they're all bent. The iPad Minis. I don't know what they do, sit on them or what, but the frames tend to get bent. The problem in the design on the iPhone 6 was that there was a fault line that ran right about here, right in this area. And what would happen is there's an integrated circuit behind that area, and when that bend starts to take place, it transfers that pressure over to that IC, and that thing would pop off of where it was soldered down. So if you kind of squeeze your phone or twisted it the right way, you might get it to work. but most of the time the touch would be gone. And they call that touch disease. And my understanding is that every iPhone 6 and 6 Plus will eventually experience this problem called touch disease just over the course of its lifetime, because components heat up, they cool down, they shrink, they expand, and so forth. And it wasn't a matter of, hey, Apple, you screwed up this design. Well, you don't know, right? Until it gets out there in the wild, you don't know what's going to happen to your device. The problem was, and the reason that people were threatening class action and everything else, was that Apple, allegedly, Apple kind of swept this problem under the rug for a long time until most of the 6 Pluses were out of warranty. Then they came back and acknowledged that there was a problem. But if you're out of warranty, sorry, it's too late. So and here was the capper. You go in with a iPhone 6 Plus with touch disease, and they go, sure, you're under warranty. We'll fix that for you. They would swap you out for another iPhone 6 Plus that's going to have the same problem later on. And they identified the specific contact on the logic board. It's called the M1 pad that was faulty by design. Like, there was a problem in there from the beginning. Your phone's going to have this problem whether you're sitting on the phone or not. And again, I don't have any issue with that. Nobody's perfect. I mean, my car should have been recalled 3 years after I bought it, but they got by that one because they're Ford Lincoln and they have tons of money, and they just swept that one under the rug for a long time until they stopped making a car. But that's another story.
Sounds like LG.
What's that?
Sounds like LG. I'm pretty sure you have experience with the 5X, having the boot loop issue again and again.
Am I frozen?
You're gone for a second, but
okay, yeah, sorry guys, cut in there for a while. So I'm going to get off that real quick because I'm just going to keep going off, and I know you guys have plenty to say, and this is all about you. So feel free to jump in anytime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think all companies have their own issues. Whether they don't listen to the customer or they do listen to the customer and bites them in the back. I mean, I don't know. I think LG was a good company, and then they had the boot loop issue.
Hey,
I think Samsung was good, but now they're so high up that they think we could just.
I don't know. That's the one I want to come back to easy on right now too. But guys, Tech for Your Needs just said Unbox Therapy has a Bengate video with 70 million views on it. So this is out there. And to answer Johnny's original question, I do not believe this Linus thing is going to be anything on that scale, because this was an isolated incident. Most people who have a $10,000 machine are going to be very careful about it. We're not likely to see these problems. And I guarantee you, Apple, if they haven't already done so, they are training people to be certified to service this thing at this minute, because, and this is a sad thing, all our subscribers combined aren't going to be able to put the pressure on Apple that somebody with 5 million YouTube subscribers can do. That's the bottom line. And that's the part that really irks me, is that you have to be somebody. You have to be highly visible to get things done. I could be out 10 grand. You guys could be out 10 grand. And it'd be like, oh, that sucks, right? And you're not going to get the kind of press that Linus Tech Tips does. Fortunately, he's getting it, and it's out there. But I won't harp on that. Easy, I got to come back to you, man, because I do want to talk about the Apple. What's the term? I don't want to say cult, but the Apple team, which I feel like the first time I talked to you, you were pretty much Android man.
Yeah.
Part, and you had what did you have? The Galaxy S8, I think, at the time.
I got the Galaxy S8, Galaxy Note 8. I got all the Galaxy phones. So I
right now your daily driver.
My daily driver right now is the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8. And I got a BlackBerry. I usually keep 3 phones, so I got 1 Android and 2 Apple phones.
How did they get you to change teams is what I want to know.
Well, here's the thing. One of the biggest things that that irks me about what's going on with Android, I would bring this back to LG. LG, right? Let's talk about LG history real quic. LG G4 was boot loop hell, right? You had the problems with the LG G4. It was a bad phone. LG had problems. LG came out with the LG G5, right? They tried to do the Friends thing, the modular design. They killed that. They screwed over their customers with that. Then we got the LG G6, which the LG G6 was a nice device. Of course, it had last year 821 processor. It was a great device. I paid almost $800 for it, and it was great until LG just gave up on the phone. And I always talk about it because I always pick LG because they have a big community of people that love their product. LG G6 right now is running Android 7.0 with last year's security patch. And that is no excuses for $800 phone. No excuses. When you pay $800 to $1,000 for a phone, I shouldn't have to beg a company to give me security patches and updates. Unfortunately, that's the Android ecosystem right now. The Android ecosystem, and a lot of people say, well, easy, my phone worked fine. I don't know why you keep complaining. I complain because another example, the Galaxy S8 was one of those phones that was stuck on Android 7.0. When they got updated to 8.0, it was like night and day when it comes down to performance. These are the things why I complain about, because it should have been on 8.0 a long time ago. Why we got to beg and scratch and crawl for these companies to get up off their rumps to give us what we need? We pay $1,000 for a phone. Why we got to beg them for a security patch? Why we have to beg them for updates? And these are the things that I harp on every time I make a video about Android. And I'm not really on the iPhone team. I'm not an iSheet. I don't want just want to make sure we understand it. But let's be real about it. My iPad works great. My MacBook works great. My iPhones work great. No issues with those devices. Apple guarantee you to send you out updates if they find faults. Obviously, people always find faults, bugs, and all that stuff like that. Apple's on it, right? They take care of it, right? But like my Galaxy S8, Galaxy S9 it's running Android 8.0. Right now, we're on Android 8.1. I mean, what is the problem with the fragmentation of Android? Let's look at the statistics. 0.04% of Android devices is running the latest operating system. But that's a shame. I mean, we got Peppermint Patty or Android P that's coming out in the next couple of months. I mean, what we gonna have 0.0 devices that's gonna be running the latest operating system? I mean, Android needs to, Pixel, obviously, but Android needs to get on the ball here. I mean, it's no more excuses for this crap that Android does. And I understand that, well, it's open platform. And if you want to get the latest and greatest software, get a Pixel or get an Android One device. Well, unfortunately, we wanted to have the variety of devices such as Motorola, Samsung, right? And stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when you spend so much money on a product, you should be able to get your proper updates. And a lot of people say, well, they're gonna do it, but when? And that's the problem I have. But I'm not jumping. I am not like jumping on the Apple bandwagon. I just think that when it comes down to handling business, I have a better experience on the iOS side versus Android at this point.
Okay, that's fair. I just wanted to hear it from you because, I was listening to your stream a little bit and I could sense it over the last couple of weeks, a little frustration with Android and the fragmentation. I get it. Real world, any thoughts on that? Because you are probably definitely more knowledgeable than I am on the operating system.
Well, I'm just going through all my phones right now, just trying to see what security I'm on. Honestly, I'm loving the Moto Z2 Force.
Oh yeah, great device.
Well, that's the thing. It says December 1st, 2017 was the last security patch.
Right.
But honestly, I can't really tell what the difference between 8.0 to 8.1 is. I know it's going to go against like what I'm going to say on my S7 review, but now that I've used the S8 and I've used the S9 and I've used devices on 8.0 and 8.1, I'm starting to realize how horrible 7.0 is on these Galaxy devices. Yet at the same time, on stock Android devices, like I have this Nexus 6 right here. I have a custom software on 8.1. And this is just some random person making the software. That's it. Or maybe this, you know, a company making a software. But like Samsung can't even keep their phones up to date. But that's the biggest issue is that with this phone, the Nexus, I think there are two models. You know, two models of the Nexus 6. The Samsung S7, S8, S9, there's like 20, 30 different models across the whole entire world. With Apple, they have like 3 or 4 different models, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember there being an issue with certain phones working, you know, not working properly in Japan or, you know, other countries around the world, because they would send out these updates and they would work for all 4 of the iPhone 8s or all 4 of the iPhone 8 Pluses, except for in certain countries because they weren't fully, either they weren't tested or, you know, there were bugs found. But I think the biggest issue is because you have Samsung releasing all these updates for all these different phones. I mean, even you look at the S8 Active, the T-Mobile version has 8.0, the Sprint one doesn't.
Right.
You know, so it's not only that, but then you also, it goes from Google to Samsung to the carrier, yet everyone complains to Samsung, or everyone complains to Motorola or LG, you know, and it's.
Well, here's the thing. My biggest thing is this: is that as an average consumer, right, when you have a Samsung branded name on your device, you look at the Samsung as being the corporate, right? You don't look at the carrier. Obviously, the carrier that will never take the blame for it. So it goes back to my original statement. As an average consumer, they don't complain about taking $1,000 from you, right?
Right.
So they take the money from you. And so once they get your money, at this point, you're sitting around like, when we talk about security patches, let's make sure we understand this. Am I right or wrong when we talk about security patches? It's all about compromises, right? You want to be on the latest security patch, and the reason why is because if you're using mobile payments, if you're using, the web a lot, these security patches protect the average consumer from hacks and other compromises, that we always vulnerable. And
I want to ask a quick question right in the middle there, because you reminded me. To your knowledge, is this a pretty prolific problem where people are getting their phones hacked and other security issues right now?
Well, I think when we have a possibility of, you do have people that get compromised, especially with people that have like the Galaxy S5s or older devices, and those devices still running Android 6.0, maybe running 2-year-old, 3-year-old security patches, and those people still using those devices. And my thing is this: I think it's more of education to the average consumer, because right now our mobile devices is our world. We pay for everything. We pay all our bills. We got our credit card information on there. We use everything on our smartphones. I mean, we pay all our bills. I mean, right in the vehicle, right in the comfort of your home. You pay all your bills, from your light bill, your credit card bill. I mean, everything from a smartphone. So at that point, I believe that they obligated. I believe that when it comes down to security and making sure that everything is on the up and up, it's their responsibility, because we paying for it. We paying for services. We paying for these devices. We paying for cellular services. And I believe that it is their responsibilities, and we have to hold their feet to the fire. We have to hold their feet to the fire and let them know that we don't accept 6-month-old security patches. I mean, and now we're hearing that some of these security patches on Android has been false. So when we hear these type of reports, it goes back to the trust issue. Do we trust Samsung? Do we trust Android? Do we even trust Apple? I mean, I think people really put a lot into their devices and put their whole world on a mobile device. And I think at the end of the day, we as consumers have to bear a little responsibility because we put all our stuff on a mobile device. That's one thing. And second, these companies need to bear some responsibility because when they have compromises and hacks and stuff like that, they need to get off their rump and update our phone. Now, I know one of the things that a lot of people say, well, Samsung got 300 different kinds of devices. Well, that's not my fault. I don't have anything to do with that. It's not my fault that Samsung released 1,000 phones. It's not my fault that you got all these different variants. They made a choice to release all these different variants. And it's their responsibility to make sure that every variant get updated on time, get proper security patches, because Google, they send it every month. They send it. Google on time. And so I believe firmly that with Android being an open platform, it's either they're going to take care of business or the average consumer need to know this. And that's what us tech reviewers, we talk about this, and I get blasted out for it, believe it or not. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care if I got last year's security patch until they get hacked. That's the point. Until they get hacked. Oh, it's not going to happen to me until you get hacked and compromised, and your bank account go from to something to zero.
Yeah,
that's the point.
I want to talk to someone, and I mean this seriously. I want to talk to someone whose phone has been hacked, because we would have people come into the store all the time thinking that they're being spied on, and somebody, you know, their ex is watching them on the phone. They got spyware. But as far as hacking goes, I have yet to run into someone, and I understand the feeling of security. You want to be up to date. I totally get that. In fact, I think somebody said something over here in the comments, which we should let's do this first, guys. And I apologize because I tend to go off on tangents and then we lose our place and everything else. But I wanted to let everyone know, if you didn't already know, we are talking to Easy Computer Solutions. He has a channel on YouTube where he does reviews of all kinds of stuff. He does live streams 2 or 3 times a week now.
Yeah, 2 times a week I do live streams.
And again, I thank you, and I want to acknowledge I was inspired by this man, because I came on here saying, you know what? I think I'm going to try to start live streaming every single week and have at least 2 videos published every week. And I talked to Eric, and he says, yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, I'm doing this today. I'm doing this tomorrow. I got that today. And I'm like, this guy's doing like 17, 12, I don't know how many videos a week. I got to get on it. And that motivated me to get on here and start doing this live stream. So for that, I want to say thank you to Easy Computer Solutions. I'll put a link to his channel down in the video description. Check that out after the stream. You don't have to go right now. We don't want to lose you. And we're going to wrap up pretty soon, but I don't want to get too far off track, because also we have Real World Review, who just broke out with 500 subscribers. Congratulations to you. Congratulations. We got videos about the LG G6, the iFixit ProTech Toolkit. So he's going to be geared a little more towards people who want to be able to take phones apart, that kind of stuff. And for the most part, you're doing just phones, right? Not too much of anything else on there?
I'm trying to figure out, because I have a system to do the repairs and everything. So like even the product repairs, I kind of had to, you know, kind of really sit down and figure out how am I going to review these things. But I do have other products that I do plan on reviewing. And I mean, it would be cool to review like certain tech inside of cars and, you know, tech and, I mean, just in other products rather than just phones or just, you know, just portable devices, but more of, you know, big tech devices.
Right. I hear you. And I have a feeling you'll probably end up in this, where I found myself, which I'm sure Easy did a long time ago, was starting out to do one category and say, I want to do this too. I want to do that too. Pretty soon there's Wine Wednesday and there's Saturday Night Tech Talk and everything else. So, you know, if you're having fun with it, it's going to be easy to do. I mean, it's not easy, but it's far more enjoyable. And before I get too far out here, I'm going to try to point somewhere in this region. There should be a little card. You guys can, anyone who watches this or the replay, you can cast your vote. The question we're asking tonight, should Apple, after all this discussion we had about companies and customer service and everything else, should Apple try to do something to solve this problem? That's my question. The other question, which we already know the answer to, will they do it? Of course they will, because Apple doesn't want a PR nightmare, which is what this is going to end up to be. We already know the answer to that question. But the real question is, should companies be obligated to help someone in a situation like this? Okay, whether you purposely damage something, or if it was an accident or you were making a video, whatever it was, you know, is that just kind of on you and you get to write that off? Or do you think that, you know, we're at the point now where we have consumer protection set up in a lot of areas of life, okay? And it would be nice to say, hey, whatever you do, it's your responsibility, but they don't tell you that if you're not wearing a seatbelt, okay? They don't tell you that if you're smoking inside of a restaurant. There are a lot of areas in life where someone has to step in and say, you know what, this is what's best for the population. This is what's best for the community. This is what's best for all these people that make up this great nation. And if we don't have laws in place to protect them, I'm not saying this is necessarily one of them, but that's my question. Does Apple need to fix this problem? Or, you know, in your opinion, is it like, hey, man, you broke it, you bought it, it was your machine, too bad, that's the way it goes. I'm still okay with Apple's position on this. That's my real question.
Let me ask you this question, real quick. If I bought a vehicle and I took that motor and I re-engineered it, I redid it, I redid that, and once I start that car, I blew all the pistons out of it. Should I go back to Ford or whatever and say, hey, listen, I did all the modifications, I tore it up. Can you repair this? I don't know if when it comes down to something like that, you know, that's kind of extreme, but I kind of put it in that same type of category. I think about it that if they would fix it, would they be obligated to warranty it after you done compromised it?
Well, that's an excellent question, and I meant to go. We were blowing through the beginning before this. I wanted to show you this up front, but I do want to speak to that a little because we just had this discussion on my Monday afternoon live stream, and that is the FTC has stated that these warranty void if removed stickers are illegal. If you go in and do something to your property, so to your product that you paid for, it does not automatically mean that you are out of warranty. There has to be, and I'm sure this will go to arbitration at some point, but what the FTC is saying is that you cannot tell a customer just because they modify something, their warranty is void. So I think, the way that I take this is to answer your question, unless you cause the device to not, like you said, if you burn out your clutch, they're not going to give you a new clutch, but that doesn't mean your engine and your powertrain is no longer under warranty with the exception of that part, if that makes sense. And this is the Federal Trade Commission saying that. So, right or wrong, I'm not trying to make that call, but it sounds like from a legal standpoint, you can modify stuff and these manufacturers can't bully their customers and say, oh, your warranty sticker's gone. Sorry, it's all on you now. So there is a definite statement position here on consumer protections when it comes to that. If you don't put oil in your car and you burn the engine up, I don't think any reasonable person would expect GM or whoever you bought it from to say, oh, your engine was under warranty. No, you didn't maintain it. You didn't do what you're supposed to. But if you went in there and you put a new air cooler in, and that air cooler malfunctioned and caused a problem with the engine, then I believe that that's going to stand up in court on the manufacturer's side. But if your exhaust system starts to malfunction and it's completely unrelated to whatever that you did, I think you would have a case, And the sad thing about this is that the devices that we deal with are nowhere near the price point when you talk about something like a car or a home or a swimming pool. Those are things worth going to court over. You got a $700 phone. By the time you factor in your time and you're trying to do small claims, and these guys have real attorneys, if they even show up, they might settle out for something like that. That's where it comes in. And I got to tell you, Easy, last night, I wish I could remember her name. I should have written it down. But you have a woman on your Wine Wednesdays who is an attorney,
yes,
which is great, because I heard her use a term that I kid you not, I have not heard this since the 80s. Yes, I have not heard this. And this is when I grew up, what people told you all the time. Caveat emptor. And that's Latin, I believe, for let the buyer beware. So when you buy something, if you get ripped off, if you got something defective, whatever it is that happens, you spent your money, for the most part, the law is on the side of the other person that you made the purchase with. It's going to protect them. Man, I wanted to jump in right there and say, I understand that. I heard it before. We're talking about 2018. This is the day and age of, you don't like it, you get a refund. This is America. If you got a problem, you get your money back. So you never hear that term anymore. It may have some legal standing, but when it comes to the world of consumers, let's face it, there are a lot of big companies out there where you go in, I shouldn't even name names because it wouldn't be right, but I know somebody who will buy a computer, a full-on tower desktop computer for $900, use it for 6 months, take it back to the place he bought it and get his money back and upgrade to the next newest thing.
Wow.
And he did that about 3 or 4 times because a lot of these bigger companies will say, customer service, it's a membership only store. If that gives you a hint what I'm talking about.
Right.
And they would bend over backwards to keep him happy. And Wally World, that's all I'm going to say. They'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to mention any brand names, but when you're talking about, obviously, when you're talking about a small business, it's a different story. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I watched your video and saw you do this with your robot. I tried to do the same thing and now mine's broken. I want you to pay for it. You're going to say, take a hike, right? I mean, you bought it. It's on you. So it's crazy. It's so funny to me that as soon as she said that, my ears perked up because I keep hearing these things that they just kind of go out of vogue. Remember, people, this sounds bad, but when I was a kid, you would ask, say, hey, can I go do this? And people say, it's a free country. Do what you want. They used to say that. You don't hear that term anymore. It's a strange thing. Like people don't say, hey, it's a free country. Go ahead. No, not now. Caveat emptor. No. I'm the consumer. I got rights. I got power now. I can tweet about you. I can go on your website and tweet, or I could go to Twitter and say, these guys didn't give me a refund. And you know what? You're going to get your money back most of the time. Yep. Facebook, wherever you're spreading it, social reputation now. Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I believe that what the destruction of like Android or just, I think people need to probably be tweeting about some of this stuff a little more. I know, look, I see a lot of the smaller guys like us and, YouTubers, we talk about this and I think we need to get this information out. And I do that on my YouTube channel. It's so informational. I have these live streams. Y'all talk about it, and we all talk about it. It just be so small. That's the thing. When we all get to the millions and 2 millions of subscribers, then they will see. Soon as like Linus or somebody do that, they all pay attention. Unbox therapy.
We're starting somewhere. We may not have 1 million subscribers, but I meant to tell you this is another reason that I wanted to have you on tonight and not any other time. And that is because 19,000 subs coming up on 20,000, real world 500 subs. It may not sound like a lot, but you know what? Sometimes these videos go viral. Sometimes something happens and somebody shares it. And we are the grassroots of consumer protection, the way I see it. Okay. We may not have 1 million views, but if I get 10,000 views, if I get 5,000 views, and I could call up somebody and say, you know what? I got a YouTube channel with X number of subscribers, and I think they need to know about this. How about you? It might not sound like a lot, but companies are so on edge about reputation nowadays that no matter the size, we shouldn't underestimate. Like, I acknowledge Linus Tech Tips, 5 million views. Anybody that's got 5, 10, whatever subscribers, they're going to be. Rihanna says she doesn't like Snapchat. Look what happened to them.
Oh, they plummeted.
Right. So if you're a celebrity, you have that pull. But I think, it's kind of sounds like it conflicts with what I said earlier, but we shouldn't underestimate ourselves. All these people that are in this chat right now, they have friends, they have Twitter, they have Facebook, and what's the best form of advertising? Word of mouth, right? So what you say to me is 1,000 times more believable than any commercial I'm going to watch on TV, than any ad I'm going to hear on whatever my streaming service is or whatever advertisement comes. I shouldn't say that, but but seriously, no matter where you see it on a billboard or YouTube, whatever it is, if somebody tells you something, go try this restaurant. Easy. If you come to the Bay Area, you got to try this restaurant. Guarantee. You tell me when you're down here, you're in Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
You say, Mike, if you come to Louisiana, here's where you get seafood. You go here, man, I'm there. Right? I don't care what TripAdvisor and Yelp and everybody else says. And half of those things I don't believe, to be honest with you. I mean, we know that bots exist on Facebook. They're everywhere. They're all over the place.
Yep.
You believe people you know. I think there was a there actually should be a card. I may be wrong, guys. If you can see the video, there's supposed to be a card on my left. I think I'm reversed tonight. So there should be a card, I think, up here. It's a little round dot with the eye in it. And if you click on it, there should be a poll. If you don't see it after the video, I'll go back and make sure that's there. I'm definitely going to follow up on this Monday and next Thursday. So let's just have between you guys, for you guys that I'm talking to, Easy, what do you think? Yay or nay? Should Apple, not will they, but should Apple help this guy get his computer fixed?
I don't think they can. Not at this point, because what my understanding is that the iMac that he has is a new iMac, that they don't have any certified folks to fix it. Now, maybe in the future they might can fix it, but as of today they can't. But it goes back to what we were saying earlier. I don't know. I think they don't want to touch it just because there's so much damage to it. Like, even if you willing to pay, they probably don't want to touch it, because if they touch it and fix it, they have to warranty it. And I don't know if they want to go that far.
Okay, that's fair. So in your opinion, if you were Apple and you looked at this situation, it would not make sense for you to try to get this thing fixed?
I would do whatever I can to try to help the person. But when I know I'm limited, and that's strange when you release a product. And this is the first time I've ever heard this. So shame on Apple that release a product that they don't have any certified people to repair it. Now, maybe they can take
it together, right?
Yes, that's it, exactly. That's what. So I mean, would they have to send it to Cupertino and maybe or maybe send it to Ching China? I don't know. I mean, they got to send it to somewhere.
You would think.
I mean, it's a computer, for Christ's sakes. I mean, come on. We got RAM, we got memory. I mean, you got hard drive. I mean, is it that hard to repair it at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. That's my question. Real world, what do you think? Should they, not will they, should they help this guy get his computer fixed?
I mean,
whether he has 5 million subscribers or 5 on YouTube.
They should definitely fix it. I mean, regardless of who you are, the point is, like you guys were saying, Apple made this device. They should be able to fix it. Now, here's the thing that I feel like they're not really thinking about, and they're not really telling him about it, is it worth it to fix it? Because I'll give you a brief story. I had a Lexus IS300. Cost me $4,500. I wanted to put like a little, essentially I would have to get a navigation, and then I'd have to strip that out so then I can put a tablet in there. I took it, when I went to Lexus to get the navigation, they told me if I wanted to do that, I would have to buy the entire setup, and it would be $7,500 for the part. But here's the thing, my car is not worth that. But if I had $7,500 that I wanted to spend, I could buy it. So the way that I am comparing that to Apple is, Apple should be able to go, okay, we're going to diagnose what's going on with this. We're going to say, first of all, the screen is broken. So we're going to have to, figure out the pricing on that. Then if the logic board is broken, we're going to have to figure out the pricing on that, because they're Apple. Just like how Mercedes has AMG engines that are made by them, I believe it's in Germany or whatever. Like, you can't just have someone in the United States make it. Like, it has to be made by them. So they would make the hard drive, and they would make the logic board and everything that needs to be done, and tell them, hey, it's going to be $7,000, or with the labor and everything, it's going to be $12,000. You're better off buying a new one. That, I believe, is better than saying, oh, we can't fix it. You should at least give someone the option, say, hey, I don't think it's worth it, but if you really wanted to, you can get this working.
I think you nailed it at the beginning. That screen is where the money is, that display. And I have a feeling that that's what they don't want to eat. Everything else on that motherboard That was R&D. They figured it out, and then the cost of putting that thing together. You know, like you said, you got your RAM, you got your processor, everything else on there. You got a lot of chunks of metal and ceramic and circuitry, but that display costs money to make, and that's where it's at. And I'm wondering, you know, is it even worthwhile to service something when he's got a broken screen and a problem on the motherboard, is my understanding. So they messed something up when they took it apart. And Easy, do you work on Macs? I mean, I know Easy Computer Solutions, and when you say Easy Computer Solutions, I got to tell you, most people don't say that in the same sentence.
I've actually worked on most of my clients that I work on is PC related, and you know, I fix a lot of PCs, whether or not replacing the screens, whether or not adding more RAM. Also virus scan, virus repair. Viruses is always the one that you make a lot of your money on because it's easy to fix. But I get most of my clients that I fix. I don't usually do a lot of PC repair a lot anymore. It's the reason why is because I'm so stuck on YouTube and so stuck on doing this stuff that I turn most people down right now. But it's so funny. Every time I do a PC repair, I make a video about it. So the person, if you go and look at my channel, the computer that I'm fixing, it's like the person that just paid me to fix their computer.
Hey, this was my thought a long time ago. Is somebody brings me a phone, and I use it for a video, and I tell them, "Look, I'll show you exactly what I did." And in fact, I had this theory, and I still kind of think this is true. And by the way, you probably don't see as many computers now, right? I mean, people don't lug around computers. We got tablets, we got phones that do everything a computer does, right? You got your stylus there that you love so much. I know about that. But I have a feeling that when it comes to third-party repairs in general for electronics, that at some point in time, your YouTube channel may become the equivalent of your resume. You want to know what kind of work I do? Here it is. You don't have to listen to what I'm telling you about how great. Go watch what I do and see if you want to bring your device to me for service. You know, and at this point, I would do the same thing. If someone's going to work on electronics that I have, I would ask them, you happen to have a YouTube channel? Because I know a lot of people that do, who I could watch their channel and say, I'm confident this person could help solve my problem. I can see them doing it live. Everyone else, it's how much money they put into making their business look legitimate on the outside. I don't know unless I have a recommendation from someone else, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? I tell you, I see somebody just put in the comments, and I want to make say this, is that this like Walmart, Wally World, Apple could get a lot of bad publicity and they will still buy their devices. Trust me, I actually tried this here. I actually went to my daughter. She's loved Apple. And when I told her about the headphone jack, you know, because she went from the 6 to the 7 with no headphone jack, she was fine with that. And I know a lot of people criticize Apple when they took away the headphone jack. I mean, people didn't care at that point. And I think what happened, a lot of things with Apple, Android fans say that Apple is boring because you can't customize your home screen, you can't put widgets on there, you can't do this, can't do that. But if you ask live tiles, if you ask a Apple fan, they will tell you they don't want widgets. They don't want that. They don't want that. They just want their phone to work. Long as they got iMessage, long as they got that blue bubble every time you text. Listen, if they don't see a blue bubble when they text, they don't answer you back. So, I mean, I think, you know, when we hear people, and I hear this all the time, say, well, if Apple keep doing this, people go stop using Apple product. When did it ever stop? You know, and that's the whole thing. I came to the realization of this because I was, trust me, when I first started my YouTube channel last year, I bought all the iPhones, but I never used them. I used to buy them all. I unbox them and I never used them. And I came to a realization because I'm an Android fan. I mean, but I had to have an open mind because I review all tech. And my Galaxy Note 8 is one of my favorite devices. It has everything that I need. I can do DeX because I use DeX now. I don't even use PCs in my businesses anymore. I use DeX. So DeX has took over where I used to do my spreadsheets and all that. No, I use my Galaxy Note 8 and Dex to do all my payroll, all my spreadsheets, and everything. And it's so convenient. You pop it in, do all your work, and pop it out. You're good to go. And I think if people complain about this and complain about that, but you have to look at the overall picture. And I think that's what it is. It's the overall picture. And I think in technology, we love it. We all geeks. Trust me. We're hearing all kinds of new stuff coming out with foldable displays and the Galaxy X and all that stuff. I'm excited, but I'm not excited about the price, and I'm not excited about the support. I'm excited about the product, but once I get the device, I'm gonna be a beta, right? I mean, obviously, that's the same thing that happened with the iPhone 10. We was all kind of stuck in this beta program.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, I think, I've been talking about this for a while. Y'all would agree with me. The $1,000 phone era is here. I mean, everything costs $1,000. I mean, are we getting $1,000 worth of support, worth of product, worth of after we drop that $1,000? I mean, that's my thing.
Yeah. Hey, guys, just real quick. Obviously, we went over time a little bit here. Johnny had reminded me in the chat. It's been past an hour. If you guys are good for about another 13 minutes, we could go till 7:30. If anyone has to cut out, Neo, if you got to get back to what you're doing, I totally understand. If you guys want to hang out a little longer, I knew this was going to be a long one. I knew this was going to happen. We were going to get going. So, but I don't want to obligate anyone. If anyone has to take off, that's cool. No,
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I can be here for like another 3 hours. I don't really.
Okay. But yeah, so we're definitely seeing an evolution from computers to handhelds until the next thing comes, whatever that's going to be, we don't even know. And when you talk about beta testing, it's a funny thing. Again, coming from the side of the counter where we see people come in with problems. Okay, so this is an interesting thing, and I heard this, and I agree with your observation 100%. You go out and you try to recognize handsets in public. What are you going to see? You're going to see, oh, that's an iPhone. That's the iPhone 10. That's the iPhone 6. Maybe that. What is that? Is that a Galaxy? Is that ZTE? What do you got? But the representation in the United States clearly, at the very least, we could say this: people with iPhones take them out a lot for everyone to see, right? I mean, we know that we see a lot more iPhones. So we have Androids out there for whatever reason. I got to agree with your observation here on this side of the country. Same thing. You go out and you see iPhones all over the place. Often late models, but there's a lot of information out there now saying that quite a few people are opting to buy one, two, I got a gnat in here, 1, 2, maybe even 3 generations behind on the iPhones, because we know that the iPhone 10 sales really aren't where, we don't know the exact numbers, but they're not really exactly where they're supposed to be. There are chip makers who are kind of pulling back right now because Apple has reduced their orders, as opposed to the projections that they had for this year. So they're not selling as many. We do know that, and I'm not picking on them. I'm just saying these are the facts that we know. In China, Apple has fallen below 4th now, ranking for popularity in phones, which is not a huge surprise, especially given the current environment between us and China. And I'm just trying to get a couple words in edgewise here, guys. Shameless self-promotion, but I don't know if you knew this, Easy, but last week we had Scotty Allen from Strange Parts, the guy that put a headphone jack into his iPhone 7.
I've seen that video.
So he was this guy, man. He went through a lot of phones, a lot of parts, a lot of money, and figured out how to make it happen. And the only reason I'm saying this is because you talked about how your daughter was like, it's not a big deal, headphone jack. And I'm kind of in the same boat, except I use Square Register for transactions, and I can plug into the 3.5 millimeter headset jack, which means I got to carry an Android around with my iPhone that doesn't have it, or I get to buy their $150 card swiper, which I'm not going to do. I don't need, thank you, Apple. I don't care about the headset jack, but I care about the auxiliary port. That was helpful. It was quite functional for me. In any case, this guy said, you know what? I do not believe that was a necessity. We didn't need to get rid of the headset jack. And if we did, it was only to make room for all that courage, because they didn't have enough room for the courage to fit inside the phone with the headphone jack in a way. But, obviously it's possible to make it happen. we're going the way of dongles. I heard you talking about dongles last night too. And well, man, when you run out of things to sell your customers, you got to be creative. You have to keep that money coming in. And Apple's no different than any other company. That's why I want to make sure everybody hears that I'm not picking on them. You could look at any company out there, and as soon as they stop making money, okay, what do we do with our existing customers to figure out how to get more of it? That's what corporations do. Here's the thing though, guys. I wanted to real quick, since we still have a few minutes, I wanted to show you what I was looking at yesterday, and I'm gonna have to stretch this all the way across. If I didn't send you the link, I can give it to you. But this is a discussion on macrumors.com. Hopefully this font's big enough for everybody to read. If it's not, I'll try to blow it up a little here. And these are people talking about this situation with Linus and Apple. And look at this comment here on the top. If you think you're clever enough and to open it up and modify it, you should be clever enough to fix it. Hey, if you're clever enough to drop your phone in the parking lot and break the screen, you ought to be clever enough to get that screen replaced on your own. This is what it, in my mind, okay, I know I'm biased, but in my mind, that's what this translates to, because I am a consumer advocate. I want to make these companies take care of customers. So when I hear this mentality, if you think you can do this with your device, then you should figure out your problem from here on. That's when you say the company has abandoned you. You did something outside of the rules, you're done. He's a YouTube millionaire and is just whoring for more clicks, which I might tend to, I don't know, maybe he is, maybe. I should make the drums fall. But, and you could just save it to him. What a drama queen, histrionics. And you see, obviously, this is a Mac forum, so you're going to hear a lot of the opinions of people from Mac. And I'm okay, you know, if it comes down to the point where people say, you know what, you broke it, you fix it, I'm okay with that. But there are a lot of comments in here that say, I didn't even bother to watch the video. I don't care what he has to say. Screw him. He's on his own. And that's what scares me, when people become so loyal to anything that they're unwilling to have a discussion, no matter what it is. You could come over to me and say, Mike, I'm going to convince you right now that the sky is not blue. And I would say, you're probably not, but I'll listen to what you have to say, especially if it's someone I know. But we have this, we have a lot of this attitude going around that, you know, no, I don't want to hear what the left or the right has to say. I don't want to hear what Apple or Samsung has to say. I don't want to hear what Mike or Easy or Real World has to say. I decided on what I like, and I think that's a shortcut to not having to think, to not having to make those decisions. And I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying that when anyone takes the attitude that I don't want to hear your argument, we're not going to have a conversation, right? I mean, it's over. That's the end of it.
Well, you know, when you look at it like this, let's talk about, even though Apple is down in sales of the iPhone 10, what happened? Everybody trying to copy the iPhone, the notch. Everybody about trying to get rid of the headphone jack. All of them trying to get rid of the launchers, right? I mean, they all look at iPhone-ish. So what happens in the Android world, and you got a lot of copycats, is that they all try to look at the Huawei P20. I mean, look at the back of the device. It clearly looks like an iPhone 10. And when you look at the front of the device, it clearly looks like an iPhone 10.
That's the one they put a fake notch in too, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then here we got the OnePlus 6 coming out. We have a plenty. I mean, listen, for Christ's sakes, they what it was, ASUS, the ASUS ZenFone. When they did their keynote address, they said it in the keynote. Our notch is 30% smaller than the iPhone notch. They say that in the keynote address, for Christ's sakes. This is insane about how they want to be like Apple, but on the Android side, get rid of the launchers. You no longer have an app drawer. You got the notch. You got vertical cameras. But the good thing about it, about Android, is that you get different tiers of prices. That you could buy like a Moto E for $200. You could buy devices that cost you lower than $1,000 price range. And I prove it on my YouTube channel that $300, $400, $500 devices can stay up there with the $1,000 phones when it comes down to cameras, when it comes down to build quality, screen real estate, and stuff like that. So you don't necessarily, in the Android space, don't have to spend $1,000 on the phone to get good performance, good cameras, good body style, and overall. I always say this: the Motorola X4 is running Android 8.0. It's a $200 phone, for Christ's sakes. Very speedy. It plays all the games you throw at it. It's a beautiful collected device. It is a $250 phone
with a tech processor.
It has a the 630 in it.
Oh, I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was just MediaTek.
No, the Motorola X4 has a 630, I believe, in it, with 4 gigs of RAM. It's not bad. It's not a bad device at all, and it's a $250 phone. But you do get MediaTek processors with the $200 phone price points. But you do get the Snapdragons, the 625s or the 630s in the mid-tier devices. And if you look at it, what do you get with the mid-tier device? You get the best battery life because you get 2 days of battery life with 600 series processors. You get good performance because they don't overdo it with skins. They're going to give you fairly light Android. Then they're going to support the devices, for Christ's sakes. I mean, you get Motorola that's updating all the devices. You get phones that's $300 that's getting updates, and you got $1,000 phones that don't get updates. It's just, I don't know. It's confusing to me on the Android side, and I blast them out every time.
Have you guys heard of Jolla phones?
Yeah, you know, that was a niche type device with an operating system that never really made an impact.
They had their own operating system?
Yeah, like Firefox phone or Firefox OS sort of thing.
Okay, I do remember. I vaguely remember that.
I think it was mainly that, and then there was something else that started with an M. It was kind of similar. But I'm pretty sure they were mainly on like Nokia phones, like overseas Nokia phones.
Oh, okay. I do remember something about a Firefox phone, and then I didn't hear anything about it after that.
Yeah, it's very difficult in the phone space. I mean, look at what Huawei and ZTE going through, for Christ's sakes, all right? I mean, Huawei about to get banned in the United States. ZTE is already almost banned in the United States. So, I mean, you know, you're right. When it all boils down, it's going to be LG, which is MIA. They scared to release the phone, for Christ's sakes. I don't know. They show off the G7, then they take it away. They show it off and take it away. Right. And so, I mean, did HTC, I mean, did they ever go release another device? I mean, we had the HTC U Ultra last year, the HTC U11. Well, where is it in 2018? They MIA. So you got 2 big players, Apple and Samsung. Right. I mean, that's it in the United States. We struggling down there. We need some help, man. We need to get on the bandwagon. We go in a couple of years, we just gonna have 2 big players.
That's what concerns me, and that's why I try to fight on both sides of this thing. I guarantee nobody out. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. There are going to be people that like Apple and like iOS and say, you know what? I don't care if this is the only phone that's ever available. But there's going to be a lot of us out there that say, I like Android, but I don't want Samsung, or I just don't want iOS. And when you go to the store, they're going to say, well, then you're getting Samsung. And that's not good for us as consumers. We need to have, and who is going to push Samsung to offer better features and better value if they have no competition? Because that's what's going to happen if we squeeze out everybody else. They're going to say, oh, you don't like iOS? Guess what? Now you get what we give you. And that's it. You want the small model or the big model, or the cheap one with the LCD, or, you know, and that's about it, with no updates like you mentioned. So that's unfortunate.
I mean, I think the biggest problem is that, I mean, LG had an opportunity, right? I mean, the LG G6 was a fantastic phone, even though people criticize it for the 821. It doesn't matter. If you got it optimized and you got it running right, it's no big deal. So I think the LG G6 was a great phone going against the Galaxy S8. But, I mean, what happened? They just gave up on the whole project. And now we got, I mean, how many variants of the V30 are we going to get? We got the V30 Plus. We got the V30. The V30 had different colors. I mean, you know, LG just they've lost their identity. You know? And do you think about what LG did? Think about if you bought an LG G5 and they promise you're going to have all these friends. You got the battery mod and all these mods that's coming out. And all of a sudden, it scrapped the program. Think about the people that really bought into the LG G5 and all of a sudden it's gone. I mean, I feel bad for LG because I believe they are a company and their secret weapon. I've been talking about this on my YouTube channel. It's the Stylo series. You got a pen. You got good software, and I review these devices, and they are fantastic phones, but no, they don't put nothing under the hood, and they don't market it.
Yeah, I get the feeling LG is probably going to focus on displays. HTC, they should stick to their AR stuff or their VR stuff. I mean, they're killing it there. Yeah. That's their niche. They're doing it. It's happening. But for the phones,
I mean, it's going to take OnePlus to come down to the United States and go take over. I mean, OnePlus coming with 845 processor. They're going to probably put 10 gigs of RAM. They're all about specs. Well, that's geeks love. Oh, we're going to get 10 gigs of RAM in the phones, 8 gigs of RAM, for Christ's sakes. I mean, if you put OnePlus, you got to give them credit. Besides the upside down screen in the OnePlus 5, they've been killing it. You know, good price, high specs. Their phones are rocking the latest and greatest Android operating system. I mean, if they could get into the carrier, they probably don't want to get into the carrier stores in the United States because then we talking about a big price increase when you talk about a OnePlus device. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the easiest thing is, if you're a company and you have that name like Motorola or LG, you got to do the exact same thing that Motorola did, but you have to advertise it. This is Droid Turbo. This has a 3,900 milliamp battery.
Yes,
This battery is literally twice the size as an iPhone 8, and this was made like 4 or 5. I think it's like 3 or 4 years ago.
I think after Motorola, Lenovo bought Motorola. I think that was, man, I think that was some of the growing pains with what happened with. Listen, I'm a huge supporter of Motorola. Not only that they supply me with review units, but they are good phones, and they are a good brand. I love the Motorola brand. I just think that Lenovo don't give it that oomph. That support, that marketing to get them out there, to push them, to do what they got to do. I don't know. I mean, I think we're in some serious problems, guys, because I believe, here's the thing. In 2017, I talked about this. We got the $1,000 era. And then 2018, we go continue the $1,000 era. I think we're gonna suffice to 11 and 12. Think about how much the Galaxy Note 9 is going to cost, even though the Galaxy Note 8 right now is still $970. The Galaxy Note 9 is going to be what, $1,100 for Christ's sakes?
Yeah, and they're going to set it up. They're going to make it real easy to finance. So all you do is sign on the dotted line, and you're going to pay for the next 3 years for this phone that you're going to be tired of in a year. I don't doubt you at all. That's where we're headed. And again, Apple did it first. Everyone else is going to jump on that bandwagon and say, hey, if people are willing to pay $1,000 for a phone, then there are going to be some people that don't want an iPhone, and we need to get in there and do it. I agree completely. I'm not going to be on that list, but a lot of my customers will be. Hey guys, we need to wrap up. I appreciate you coming on here. We probably should have scheduled this for 2 hours. I knew this was going to happen, but we need to get together again at some point in the future. We didn't even talk about Error 53 and aftermarket screens, which were on my list. But I'll see you on your live stream on Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try to get on there Saturday, everyone. The next upcoming tech live stream that I'm aware of is going to be on Easy Computer Solutions channel on this Saturday at, what's the time again?
8 p.m. Central Time.
Okay, 8 Central. So that's like 5 o'clock on the West Coast, I believe. No, Central. So it's like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think for me. In real world, what do you have coming out on your list?
I have S8 review, S7 or S8 Plus review, S7 Edge review, Moto Z2. hopefully I have the Pixel long enough to do a review on that. I got a few teardowns. I actually have I already tore down a Samsung S9. One got the SIM card.
Nice. All right. Well, look forward to seeing that. Guys, if you'll hang out with me for just a second, I'm going to end the stream, and then we'll just wrap up for like a minute. And again, thanks to Easy Computer Solutions, Real World Review. Be sure to check out their channels. I'll be back Monday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, of course, next week at 8 o'clock. Thanks so much to all of you guys who watched, and for those who came back to watch the replay. Really appreciate it. Certainly wouldn't do this without you. I will talk to you next time. Have a great one.